What's up, everyone? This is your host, Ghost, coming to you live with another wonderful video. How is everyone doing today? I'm doing well myself. Oh, I'm a little cold. Hold on. So we've got day, what was it, 16, I think? Yeah. Alright, day 16 of the Trump trial. So finally, we got a little more, or not finally, but yeah. So day 16 of the Trump trial is today. It looks like um Michael Cohen testified, so we're going to be looking out for that, and we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so should be interesting. Let's see. So that's going to probably take up the most of this week. I would say the prosecution has admitted that they were more than likely, or there's a good chance they're going to rest this week. So we'll see how accurate that is. But before we get into any of this, let's let us do some housekeeping. Follow me on X at officialwghost. That is the best way to find out when I go live and see whatever I'm tweeting about. You can also watch me live on X as well. And then there's rumble.com/withghost, youtube.com/at withghost, capital W, capital G, and then twitch.tv/ official with Ghost. And then I do have a gaming channel. Rumble is Gaming with Ghost. YouTube is official Gaming with Ghost. Capital O, capital G, capital W, and capital G again. But yeah. So yeah, that's housekeeping. Make sure you check out my previous video where sorry. I did a couple hours ago, breaking down Andrew Wilson destroying Daisy Chen, aka Ling Ling, aka Fresh's ex baby mama, or potential or possible baby mama, ex possible baby mama, as she has aborted the baby. But yeah, we watch that she get yeah, completely wrecked and showing what a big liar she is. So check that out. I just did that a couple hours ago, like 5 or so. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. Like the video. And yeah, so let's do day 16. Oh, hold on. I went fucked up. Okay. There we go. All right. So judge is on the bench and court is in session. Let's see. Judge is not allowing prosecutors to introduce into evidence Alan Weiselberg's severance agreement. It doesn't move the ball, judge says. It seems to me that would be used to justify an explanation for why someone is not here, Merchant adds. Weiselberg is the former CFO of Trump Organization. It would be gratuitous to simply allow evidence that Weiselberg is not there. We know that he's incarcerated, and this would be an attempt to alert the jury to an explanation as to why they are hearing from Weiselberg's subordinates and not him. Yeah, so that's absolutely true. But like, apparently the prosecution didn't even attempt to compel Weiselberg's testimony, which they very well could have done. Let's see. Hold on, real quick, just to see. So he's currently doing 5 months in Rikers, which is in New York. So it's not unforeseeable that they could potentially have brought him into the courtroom and do a testimony if they really wanted to. Their argument was we would do that and would just plead the fifth, which is fine, but you don't really know that for sure until you actually bring the guy in and see that he pleads the fifth. So that's happened Friday, where the judge says, "Well, I'd like to see some like you guys at least attempting to get him to come and testify before I make a decision." The judge seems to have made the right call here. Also, because the severance deal doesn't really pertain to this case at all, really. And they try to say, "Oh, it's said," like, they try to, I don't know, somehow connect it with Trump was by saying, "Oh, well, it says he can't disparage or dispute the company or something like that." And it's like, yeah, but that's what all severance packages generally have with. They have a non-disparage agreement. It's kind of common. Judge has called jury into the courtroom. Jury has entered the courtroom. All right, Michael Cohen has been called to the stand in the trial. He will be questioned by by prosecutor Susan Hoffinger. The people call Michael Cohen. Hoffinger said 130 payment to Stormy Daniels at the center of the hush money case was made by Cohen, then Trump's personal attorney, who landed in federal prison over that transaction for breaking campaign finance laws, which Trump isn't charged with. Cohen has alleged Trump directed him to make the payment to Daniels in the final days of 2016 presidential campaign. Trump and his legal team attempt to bar Cohen from testifying, arguing that he's committed perjury more than once in other cases, but the request was denied. I think they're going to be able to at least bring that up. Say, so you've committed perjury before, correct? I absolutely think they better be asking that fucking question. Because it's very important. Like, so you've committed perjury before, and that also is absolutely allowed to question aloud, because it speaks to the credibility of a person's character. Oh man, sorry, my throat is sore from yesterday because I did a bit of yelling. Because of plastic Mulan. A longtime attorney of the former president, before he occupied the Oval Office, Cohen had been one of Trump's closest allies, famously pledging years ago that he would take a bullet for his then boss. His relationship deteriorated after the start of Trump's presidency and broke down fully in public view after Cohen released a recording in which he and Trump can be heard discussing how they would buy the rights to former Playboy model Karen McDougal's story about an alleged affair she had with Trump years earlier, which Trump denies. Cohen later provided dramatic testimony to a House committee about Trump's involvement in the hush money case involving both McDougal and Daniels, who also alleges Trump had an affair with her. Trump has also denied that. The New York Attorney General Letitia James' office has said it opens its investigation after Cohen alleged during his congressional testimony that Trump inflated the value of his properties to get better interest rates on loans and insurance. So he's responsible for that. Cohen is testifying pursuant to a subpoena. Cohen is giving his family background information. He's said he's been married for going on 30 years. Actually, I really didn't want to be a lawyer. My grandmother wanted me to be a lawyer. My family is comprised of doctors and lawyers. Cohen said, I wanted to go to Wall Street. My grandma's like, that's not going to happen, he says. Cohen said he invested in taxi medallions when a client moved to Israel, and he gave me the opportunity to buy 50% interest in the company. Okay. Cohen is asked if he sees Trump in the courtroom. Cohen leans to the right, stand out, and identifies his former boss wearing a blue and white tie. Let's see. Former Trump fixer and lawyer Conan is speaking very evenly, calm, even tone as he testifies, according to reporters. Conan is now describing how he began to work for Trump when he lived at Trump World Tower, explaining how he had helped orchestrate a co-op board takeover to resolve an issue which was to Mr. Trump's satisfaction. Conan described how he began working for Trump, saying that after a co-op board solution was resolved, he helped with other legal issues. When asked by prosecutor Susan Hoffinger if he got paid for any of his work at the time, he responds, "No, ma'am." So as along with being a liar and a scumbag and an illegal and a recorder that'll turn on your boss the second things aren't going your way, you're also an idiot by doing illegal work and not getting paid for it. What the fuck, dude? Michael Cohen is testifying about the time that Trump offered him a job when he met him at the office to inquire about a $100K bill for work he did for Trump Entertainment Resorts. Conan says that Trump asked whether he was happy at his sleepy old firm and then asked whether Conan wanted to work for him. "I was honored. I was taken by surprise," Conan says. "He offered me the position of EVP, Trump Org, and special counsel to Donald J. Trump, whereby I would only answer to him. I would work on issues that were of concern to him," Conan says. Trump never paid him for the bill from Trump Entertainment Resort. He asked if I wanted to get fired on the first day if I asked about the bill, Conan says while smiling at the memory. Prosecutors have elicited testimony that from the initial introduction, Conan knew not to ask about being paid, suggesting he would be fired the first day, foreshadowing later testimony on repayment. Okay, so his whole thing was, well, there's one time when I went to go get a bill, he said I would be fired that day for asking about the bill, so that's why I didn't ask for reimbursement for what? Like, this makes no sense. Okay, whatever. We'll see what happens later on. He's looking at the prosecutor and not the jury, apparently. Conan says he worked directly for the general counsel office at the Trump Organization. Asked by prosecutors who he reported to at the time, Conan responded, "Mr. Trump." Let's see. Recall, we've had testimony about why the accounting department used the drop-down menu to associate Conan with legal services. Today's testimony that he was never part of the general counsel office belies the suggestion that he should have been considered one of the lawyers whose work would be invoiced as such. Really? Because he's a lawyer for Trump. Okay, just because he works directly for Trump, not part of the general counsel office, doesn't really change the fact that his services are legal services because he's working as a lawyer directly for Trump. Still would make sense to use the drop-down menu to associate Conan with legal services. I don't know what you're talking about. Conan said he would renegotiate bills on behalf of Trump. One example he gave us was when he received an invoice from a law firm. He didn't believe the invoice was fair, reasonable, justified, so he'd give me the task of renegotiating a specific bill, Conan recalled in court. Conan described renegotiating payments for vendors working with Trump University. Trump University fell into trouble, and approximately 50 vendors had not been paid, Conan says. Conan offers to pay those vendors 20% of their invoices. All but 2 vendors accepted the offer. He had them paid within 48 hours of them accepting renegotiation. Asked about the other 2 that didn't accept, Conan said they just went away. Meaning did you pay them? Hoffinger asked. "No, ma'am," Conan says. Conan said he would go into Trump's office to tell him what he accomplished when he accomplished a goal. It was really to obtain credit so he would understand that, again, I was accomplishing what he wanted. Cohen said he felt like I was on top of the world when Trump said fantastic or great. Conan is testifying about the different problems he solves for Trump. With press as an example, they said something that angered him. I would reach out to the press. I would express to them their need to either redact or take down the article, or we would file an action against him. He said, "I would say so." Conan says when asked if he was aggressive, not all the time, often. Conan testified that interacting with the press was a portion of his job. Conan said he'd push positive stories about Trump with the media and reiterates if there was an article that caused him displeasure, I would speak to them about them as well. Conan says he'd speak to Trump in person or on a cell phone. Trump never had an email address, Conan says. Conan says he'd get to Trump through others like his executive assistant Graf or his longtime bodyguard Schuyler, who Conan called Trump's personal attaché. During certain conversations, he would comment. Conan says that emails are like written paper. He knows too many people who have gone down as direct results of having emails that prosecutors can use in a case. Prosecutor Javier clarifies with Conan, asking, "Going down, you mean getting in some sort of trouble?" "Yes, ma'am," Conan says. That makes sense. Cohen's office was moved closer to Trump's in Trump Tower. He testified he took Ivanka Trump's old office on the 26th floor when he started working there. Eventually moved to a office about 50 feet from Trump's office. He spoke to him every single day and multiple times a day. Conan said he didn't need an appointment to see Trump in his office. Mr. Trump had an open door policy, Conan said. Hoffinger asked if part of Conan's job was to keep Trump updated on his work. Actually, it was actually required, Conan testified. Excuse me. When he would task you with something, he would then say, "Keep me informed. Let me know what's going on." What he was saying, what everyone did, as soon as you had a result and answer, you could go straight back and tell him, especially if it was a matter that was troubling to him, Conan testified. Conan says Trump would be unhappy if he wasn't provided with information immediately. Conan explains that Trump wanted to always know what was happening. If you didn't immediately provide him with the information, he learned it in another manner. With the information, he learned it in another manner that wouldn't go well for you, he says of his days working for the Trump Organization. Hoffinger asked whether Trump was a micromanager about the work of the Trump Organization. "Yes, ma'am," Conan said. Conan said it was fantastic working for Trump during those 10 years. Conan is recounting his experience. Recounting his experience working for Donald Trump. Okay, never mind. I got to do that later. It was fantastic, Conan said, working for him, especially during those 10 years. Was an amazing experience in many, many ways. There were great times. There were several less than great times, but for the most part, I enjoyed the responsibility that was given to me. I worked with my colleagues at the Trump Organization, the Trump Children. It was a bit of a family, Conan said. Conan said he addressed Trump as boss or Mr. Trump. Conan seems wistful as he recounts his time at the Trump Organization. Hoffinger asked whether Conan would sometimes lie for Trump. "Yes, ma'am," Conan says. So prosecutors are beginning to lay the foundation of how Trump would assign tasks and then set expectations on how to report back in progress. We've been waiting for testimony on how Trump gave orders. Was it just intimating or instructions? Conan is suggesting that Trump's irritation with not updating him guided Conan's understanding of what he was expected to do. Conan said it was fair to describe him as having been Trump's fixer. When asked if he's been called Trump's fixer, yes, someone described me as that. Hoffinger asked Conan if he would sometimes bully people. Yes, Conan says. The only thing that was on my mind was to accomplish a task to make him happy. He says, referencing to Trump. Prosecutors are now going over cell phones and landlines Conan used while at Trump Organization. Conan said he consented to a request from the district attorney's office to turn over his cell phones. He added Trump's contacts were synced onto his phone at some point. Conan explains how he had more than 30,000 contacts on his cell phone, which came up during earlier testimonies. He says he was spending a significant amount of time with Mr. Trump, and we ultimately decided he agreed to have his contact numbers synced to my cell phone to my account as well. When they were traveling, Trump wanted to speak to someone. Cohen had the number, he explains. Cohen is now being asked about Pecker, the former National Enquirer boss, David Pecker. You know someone named David Pecker, the prosecutor asks. I do, Cohen says. Cohen says he knew Pecker before he knew Trump. They had mutual friends and met at a function on Long Island. Conan says sometimes he and Pecker communicate using the encrypted messaging app Signal. Depending upon the matter, sometimes we thought that encryption and not having the event traceable would be beneficial, he says. Offinger follows up and asks if the encrypted app was used for matters he wanted to keep confidential. Yes, ma'am, Conan says. Conan is asked about EMI and its so-called catch and kill practices. Prior to Trump announcing his run for presidency, are you aware of AMI ever paying to suppress stories? Hoffinger asked. No, ma'am, Cohen said. Yeah, but I believe Pecker testified that he had done something like this prior with like Schwarzenegger. Conan speaking about his relationship with Pecker. When asked if he would say he had a good relationship with Pecker, Conan said, I would, yes. I spoke with everyone by phone, email, and in person, Conan said. Conan said he also communicated with Howard, who worked for Pecker. Conan says that Howard worked for Pecker to the same extent I worked for Mr. Trump. Hoffinger is now asking about Trump's consideration of a presidential run in 2011, which Conan says he took to Trump when he saw an article with a poll saying 6% of people thought Trump should be president. According to Conan, he said, it's interesting. We should look into it. Cohen said they looked into it and created a website that posed the question if Trump would run for president. Oh, my throat is killing me. Trump didn't run in 2011, Conan says. Shocking, obviously. There were several large real estate projects that he had acquired, as well as another season of Apprentice. As Trump told me, you don't leave Hollywood, Hollywood leaves you. Kind of interesting. So Conan is choosing words very carefully as he describes the 2011 discussion. He's pausing between words, prolonging the sentence. It's odd. Conan is recalling Trump's announcement at Trump Tower in June 2015. Conan explains he didn't have a formal role in the 2016 campaign. Conan says Trump worried about stories about his personal life as he weighed run for presidency. Did he express to you any concern about negative stories about his personal life that might affect his candidacy? Prosecutor Hoffinger asked. Yes, Conan said. A former fixer says Trump told him, you know, when this comes out, meaning the announcement, just prepare. There's going to be a lot of women coming forward. Okay. Conan confirmed to prosecution would leverage his press contacts for Trump's 2016 campaign. Conan says I would frequently provide comment to press regarding different matters that kept popping up. Conan added that he would go on TV on MSNBC, CNN, and ABC on Trump's behalf. Conan explains how he didn't have a formal role on the 2016 election. Hold on. mute someone real quick. Uh, explains how you didn't have phone. I wasn't going to be part of it. I was going to be a surrogate, Conan said. Conan's now testifying about the 2015 meeting with Pecker and Trump. Yes, ma'am, Conan said when asked about whether they met in 2015. They met in Mr. Trump's office on the 26th floor. What was discussed was the power of the National Enquirer in terms of being located at the cash register of so many supermarkets and bodegas that if we can place positive stories about Mr. Trump, that would be beneficial. If we place negative stories about some other candidates, that would also be beneficial, Conan said. Hoffinger asked whether Pecker offered anything else. What he said was that he could keep an eye out for any negative story about Mr. Trump, and he would be able to help us to know in advance what was coming out and try to stop it from coming out, Conan says. Hoffinger confirmed that Pecker executed that plan. Excuse me. Conan confirms he previously confirms he previewed some National Enquirer stories about Trump's political opponents. Among those, Hillary Clinton wearing very thick glasses, some allegations he had some brain injury. Conan has confirmed that AMI would sometimes send over covers to him before they publish. Conan says he would immediately show it to Mr. Trump so that he sees that Pecker was loyal, on board, and was doing everything he said he was going to do in the August meeting. He was actually doing, Conan said. Conan. Oh. Conan says when he showed Trump the National Enquirer coverage, his boss would be pleased and call it fantastic. Again, he has not yet looked at the jury during his when he has entirely answered the questions. Prosecutors are showing an email from Conan to AMI's Barry Levi and Dylan Howard from January 2016. Levi wrote, "As our readers can't get enough of Mr. Trump, we are repackaging and repurposing past material from our files and adding additional material, of course, also of a positive nature." In a 2016 email, Conan responded to AMI with specific edits. Yes, take out the part of the penthouse pet Sandra, as it offers nothing. Also, I would like to reword the part about Atlantic City. Let's speak tomorrow. I love some of these CNN analysis. Let's see. Prosecutors are now showing the jury the National Enquirer cover of the headline that Donald Trump nobody knows. Conan said he learned about the doorman story circulating about Trump having fathered a love child. I went to immediately. What the fuck? I went to him immediately to advise that there was a story because it was a negative story about him and get his direction what he wanted me to do, Conan said. He told me to make sure the story doesn't get out. You handle it. Conan testified that Trump said. Conan says that the National Enquirer was going to pay $30,000 for the doorman story. They were executing an agreement with the doorman in order to obtain the life rights to the story. He says. Conan says he was in contact with Pecker and Howard about the story. When he got updates from him, he would tell Trump immediately. He says, was he grateful? Prosecutor Hoffinger asked of Trump. Absolutely, Conan says. He confirmed the strategy was to take the story off the market. Again, none of this is actually illegal. And you know they're not illegal because that's not what Trump is charged with. None of it. Like catch and kill stories, as they keep this around, it's not illegal apparently at all because, again, that's not what he's being charged with. Conan says he saw the National Enquirer deal with the doorman as it was being finalized. I reviewed it to ensure Trump was fully protected. I also asked him to send it to me so I could show Mr. Trump it was being taken care of. He emphasized the word show as he said this. Conan says that he advised AMI to add the $1 million penalty for any violation of the agreement, and he recommended removing the end date to make it more perpetuity, meaning it lasted forever. So finally, Conan turns to the jury and explains that means it's forever. They own the story forever. It can never come out. On December 19th, 2015, Dylan Howard emailed Conan confirmed he had added the liquidated damages clause. The email was shown in court. Conan says he went to Trump to tell them the agreement was done, as well as get credit for executing it. Prosecutors are now showing Conan the amendment to the agreement with the doorman that includes the $1 million liquidation clause and perpetuity clause. AMI brought the life rights as part of Pecker, of what Pecker had agreed to at Trump Tower meeting with you and Trump on August 2015. Hoffinger asked, "Yes," Conan said. Sorry about that. Cohen says he went to Trump to tell him the agreement was completed, as well as to get credit for executing it. He told Trump in order to get credit for accomplishing the task. According to Conan, Trump responded, "That's great." Hoffinger's now asking about McDougal, Karen McDougal, who alleged she had an affair with the former president. Conan says he received call from Howard or Pecker about the story. Asked what impact the story would have had on Trump's presidential campaign, Conan says significantly. Conan said he alerted Trump immediately after I got off the phone with AMI. He went to his office and said, "Hey, boss, I got to talk to you." Conan said he asked if he knew who McDougal was. His response to me was, "She's really beautiful," Conan said. Conan testified. I said, "Okay, but there's a story that's right now being shopped." Trump told him to make sure it doesn't get released. Conan said he took that to mean that they needed to acquire the story. Conan continued to the purpose is to stop the story from being sold or marketed to an outside source. Again, not illegal. Jury is now seeing text between Conan and Howard in June of 2016. Conan is now reading through the text. On June 16th of 16, Howard texted Conan, meeting will be on Monday per their terms. Dylan understood everything understood. Thank you for everything. Conan responded. This is about a meeting with McDougal and her people. Conan says, explain the text. Conan says he used a Signal app to communicate with McDougal because of the nature of the issue to make sure that it remained private. Conan said he would communicate with Pecker by phone, text, email, app. He confirmed the app referred to Signal. Conan said he updated Trump frequently. Sorry. Juries are now being shown a series of texts between Conan and Trump's longtime bodyguard, Schuyler. On the same day, June 16th of 16, Conan says the conversation was regarding the McDougal matter. I thought it was important, Conan says. Here's a serious text. Can we speak? I need you. Conan texted Schuyler. Conan, you there? Schuyler on Dallas. Conan, where's the boss? Conan testified, which of course referenced to Mr. Trump. Schuyler next to me. Conan, is he free to speak? It's kind of interesting that he never, he's saying that he's updating Trump on all this, but so far there hasn't actually been a specific, thing proving that. He just says around this time he said you needed to talk to him, but there's no text message. Just, hey, I got to talk to him about the McDougal thing. Hoffinger is now showing calls records that Trump and Conan spoke by phone for 2.5 minutes on June 6th of 16. Excuse me. Howard texted Conan on June 20th. I am about to meet her. Her name is Karen McDougal, former Playboy Playmate, the message said. Okay, we need to speak, Conan responded. After the meeting with McDougal, Howard texted Conan, spoke to DP. That's probably Pecker. We just broke. I'm wrapping up with them. Then we will convey a three-way call between us all to sort this out. I understand I've got this locked down for you. I won't let it out of my grasp. DP referenced to Pecker, like I said. Hoffinger asked Conan whether he insisted on having a call with Howard right after his meeting with McDougal. Yes, ma'am. Because I needed to get an update so I could provide it for Mr. Trump. Judge sustained an objection to Hoffinger's question about whether Howard expressed to Conan whether he thought McDougal's story was true. Let's see. Conan says he was in Trump's office when the former president had a call with Pecker about the McDougal story. He had the call put through and he had a speaker on his desk. Conan added that Trump used a speaker instead of picking up the phone so Conan could hear the conversation. Conan says that says of Trump during the conversation, he asked how many things were going with the matter. David said he had this under control and will take care of this. Conan says of Pecker during the phone conversation with Trump. While discussing the McDougal story, Conan says he told Trump it would cost $150K to control the story. Trump replied, "No problem, I'll take care of it," Conan testified. Conan says that meant Trump was going to pay him back, though he says it was not discussed on the call how that might occur. After the call with Trump, Conan says he followed with Pecker in another call to confirm the details. And we all know that Trump never paid them back for the $150K. Conan is reading more texts he sent to Howard. In one text, he said he had not heard back from our guys yet, so no update. Conan said this was a reference to Davidson, McDougal's attorney. Howard told Conan in a text on July 28th of 16 that they rejected the offer. I told him to come back to me by EOD with a realistic number. He agreed to do that. He fears she's been convinced to tell her story to ABC and really wants to. I implore my guy to get it done. He's getting back to me. Conan said they had a concern that the story was going to find its way to ABC, meaning ABC News. Conan said he learned from Pecker that McDougal deal was finalized. They said they got it, that is locked down. We prevented the story from being released on ABC News, and effectively the story hadn't been caught, Conan explained in court. Conan is corroborating Pecker and Davidson's testimony earlier in the trial that it was a bulletproof agreement. Conan said he first worked with Google's lawyer to get the 2011 the Dirty.com story about Daniels and Trump taken down. Conan called Davidson on August 5th at his request. After the McDougal matter was resolved, Conan said he told Davidson that the boss was very pleased. Trump was delighted when the McDougal deal was finalized, according to Conan. Fantastic, great job was his reaction when Conan told him his former fixer testified. The judge sustained an objection to a follow-up question from the Manhattan prosecutor Hoffinger when asked, "What was your understanding of why Davidson reached out to you after the deal was signed?" So that was sustained. Let's see, Conan. Let's see. Conan said he spoke with Pecker about the reimbursement of McDougal's story. He needed to get the $150K. He wanted $150K back because it was too much money for him to hide from the CEO of the parent company, and he had just laid out $30K previously. Conan says, so he was putting pressure on me to speak to Mr. Trump to get the money back. Pecker insisted that he get reimbursed. When asked if National Enquirer was upset, Conan testified, very. They followed up with lunch at Pecker's favorite Italian restaurant. Again, he expressed his anger, Conan said. When he relayed the message to Trump, Conan says he responded, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." Conan is now describing his concerns about the files that AMI had on Trump. Conan says at one point, Pecker was being considered of CEO of Time Inc. One of the concerns I had that I expressed to Mr. Trump was if he goes, there's a series of papers that relate to you. Tiff sides. I didn't know what the stories were. No one was discussing them with me, but they would be open for use, Conan says. Prosecutors need Cohen to express that he helped falsify records regarding the hush money payment. To the extent you want to talk about a false document, the initial false document was Michael Cohen's invoice. That's what's received by the employees of the Trump organization, and they are feeding off of that as they make their entries in the Trump records. So the documents and why it was made to be false and have the false recounting of the services provide the crucial to the precise theory of criminal liability. Prosecutors need Conan to express to the jury that what he was doing when he created these entries was covering up the fact that they had paid hush money for this story, and then it tied into the campaign. That's what Conan needs to do. That's what the prosecutors need Conan to be able to do. Prosecutors trying to take the sting out of the defense argument that Conan was recording Trump in 2016 for Conan's self-gain or nefarious purposes. Instead, he suggests he recorded Trump because he wanted to placate Pecker. He says the phone was in his hand, but he had no knowledge as to whether Trump knew he was recording. What? Okay, hold on. Does that make any sense to you? Oh, I was just recording to placate Pecker. Why didn't you just let Trump talk to Pecker or have Pecker talk directly to Trump? Why do you need to record? Like, that doesn't make any sense because him and Pecker are apparently friends, or at least, friendly. So would it make more sense? Well, why don't you call the boss? You're able to call him. You have his number. Why don't you call him about this and not talk to me about it? That doesn't make any sense. In 2018, Conan released an audio recording for Trump from 2016 in which he and Trump can be heard discussing how they would buy the rights to former McDougal's story about an alleged affair she had with Trump years earlier, which the former president denies. The recording offered the public a glimpse at the confidential discussion between Trump and Conan. It confirmed Trump was contemporaneous knowledge of a proposal to buy the rights to the story of McDougal. Again, not illegal. Conan told Trump about his plans to set up a company and finance the purchase of the rights from AMI, which publishes the National Enquirer. The recording captured what appeared to be a routine business conversation of several matters on their agenda. The audio is muddled, and the meaning of Trump's use of word of cash is disputed by the two sides. Conan says Trump was unaware he was recording their conversation in 2016. To your knowledge, was Mr. Trump aware that you recorded this conversation? No, ma'am. I gotta look something. Let me look something up real quick. Okay, so New York is a one-party consent state. Okay. Conan said he recorded the September 6, 2016 call with Trump and that it was the only time he recorded a call in 10 years of working for him. It was so I could show it to Pecker and that he could hear the conversation, that he would know that we're going to be paid and Trump is going to be paying him back, Conan said. I also wanted him to remain loyal to Mr. Trump, Conan said. Conan said he had his cell phone in his hand and recorded it while he had the conversation with Trump. He says he was on the opposite side of Trump's desk. Again, that doesn't make any sense because Pecker could just call Trump because they were friends. Officer is now playing snippets of the 2016 audio recording of the conversation with Trump, stopping and asking Conan what he was saying on the recording. Conan explained that they talked about opening a company in order to have separation and keeping it away from Mr. Trump. Conan says he was going to open an LLC that would be the owner of all information that was contained in the drawer that David was referencing. Asked why Conan referred to David and not Pecker, he responds why Conan referred to David and not David Pecker. He responded, it wasn't necessary. Mr. Trump knew what I was referring to. It was an ongoing conversation that we had. What? Doesn't make any sense. On the call, Conan mentioned he spoke with CFO Weiselberg about opening the LLC. Asked why he mentioned Weiselberg, Conan says, because Mr. Trump previously directed me to speak with Weiselberg about getting these matters handled. Okay. Let's see. On the tape, Trump asked if they had to pay 150K for the McDougal story. He already knew based upon conversation with David, which is why he mentioned the number 150K. On the call, Trump says pay with cash. Conan explains that it's one way to avoid any type of paper transaction, but that's not what I thought was the best way to do it. Really? Sounds like it was the best way to do it. So there's a break. Prosecutor's back. Trump's back. Court is in session. Judge asked Blanche if he would like to instruct the jury that the tape of the call is an evidence, not a transaction. Merchant said that this is a normal practice, but no one has asked for it. Blanche said they would like Merchant to instruct the jury. Sorry. All right, Cohen's back on stand. Let's see. So, Judge is now instructing the jury about the call with Trump that Conan recorded and was presented as evidence before the break. The evidence is in the case is the tape itself. The transcript is an aid, he added. Conan says the recording was cut off because he received an incoming call. This is trying to deflect the Trump's attorney's arguments that the conversation was doctored. Circling back to the recorded conversation with Trump, Conan says he didn't think cash was a good idea to repay AMI for the McDougal transaction, so he suggested by check to make it appear to be a proper transaction. I didn't want to record more. I had already had enough that would be able to show Packer, so I was so as to convince him he was going to receive the 150K back, Conan says. Trump has oh no, that's not important. What? Conan is one of the good guys, and history will reward him for his honesty he's showing today. Really? It's honesty? Okay, that's hilarious. Let's see. Prosecution is clearly aware of the need to corroborate Conan's testimony because the defense suggested it was doctored, and also given the obvious reputation Conan has for lying. While discussing the recording of 2016 call from Pecker, Conan says that the call that interrupted the recording came from the bank branch manager at Capital One Bank. He indicated that it does match one of his contacts, saying the branch manager from Capital One Bank. Prosecutors asked Conan whether he ever altered the audio recording with Trump. He responds, no. Hoffinger is asking Conan, it would be wild if when Trump testifies and introduced into evidence a recording that Trump himself took and shows that Conan did alter it. That'd be hilarious. It's not going to happen, of course. I just thought it'd be funny if that would happen. Be a great TV drama. Hoffinger is asking Conan whether about discussions regarding financial matters with Trump organization Weisselberg. Was it typical for you to discuss financial matters with Weisselberg? Hoffinger asked. It's typical for everyone to discuss financial matters with Weisselberg. Conan also noted that Weisselberg was a longtime loyal employee to Trump. Hoffinger follows up and asks whether a deal the size of 150K would be handled by Weisselberg. No, it wasn't even a deal of this magnitude. It was a deal. It was any deal would end up going through Allen. He says Allen handled all the finances coming in and out. Conan says. Conan says he has 10 to 12 conversations with former CFO with Weisselberg about the McDougal transaction. The day after Conan recorded the conversation with Trump, Conan and another person at AMI texted and discussed possible LLC names. We heard earlier how in the audio recording, Conan explains that they talked about opening a company in order to have separation to keep it away from Trump. As as Conan testified, they used a Signal app to communicate. Prosecutors are shown a screenshot of possible names and calls made on Signal. The likelihood of Conan lying is pretty small because he doesn't want to go back to prison. Yeah, because that stopped people before. It didn't stop him from lying in the first place. Conan formed a company named Resolution Consultants LLC to handle the payment. The jury is now being shown the certification of formation Conan filed when setting up Resolution Consultants. Conan says the purpose of Resolution Consultants LLC was to use this entity for assignment of the McDougal matter as well as other information that AMI had about Trump. Conan explains that the agreement with AMI was for $125K, not $150K, because AMI agreed the compensation to McDougal for National Enquirer articles and covers was worth $150K. Or $25K, sorry. Conan on McDougal's ill, it was at the direction and for the benefit of Trump. Hoffinger asked Conan if he was planning to own the life rights to McDougal's story. No, ma'am, I had no reason to own the life rights. What I was doing was at the direction and for the benefit of Trump. Jury is now shown a call log showing Trump and Conan spoke for 7 minutes and 14 seconds on September 29th, 2016. Conan says that he let Trump know it was being taken care of and that the matter was being resolved. Conan is being shown the invoice from Investor Advisory Services, AMI's third-party entity used for the transaction. The invoice describes a flat fee for advisor services. Conan Hoffinger asked Conan whether that was truthful. No, ma'am, Conan says, saying it was the life rights of Karen McDougal. Conan is testifying that Pecker told the McDougal cover on Men's magazine had sold more copies than they had anticipated, and they had a second cover coming. He felt it was even for the $150K. It was an excellent business deal, says a Pecker. Pecker contacted me and stated it was no longer necessary to have Trump pay the $125K. He told me to rip it up and forget it, he says a Pecker. I don't know if Pecker testified to that. Maybe he did. Conan says he had quite a few conversations with Trump about the Karen McDougal issue in person and on the phone. As far as conversations with Howard and Pecker, Conan testified also a substantial amount. Conan said he never needed to play the recorded conversation with Trump for Pecker. I told him I could, but I just never played it, Conan says. Okay, well, if you never ended up paying it and everything was good, why'd you keep it, Conan? Like he's acting like there's like a good reason why, but he kept it even though he never ended up having to play it. So after Pecker's like, hey, I don't need this 125K anymore. We got a good amount for McDougal. Just rip up the agreement. Conan should have, if his only intentions was to help Conan or Pecker stay loyal to Trump, why didn't he just delete it? I hope that's a question prosecutors ask. Conan said he was in London for his daughter's birthday and wedding anniversary when he became aware of the Access Hollywood video. I received a phone call from Hope Hicks. Prosecutors are now showing a Washington Post email to Hope Hicks seeking comment on the Access Hollywood story. Steve Bannon forwarded the email from the Washington Post seeking comment on the Access Hollywood tape to Conan. According to the email, Conan responded to Bannon, please call me. It's all over the place. Who's doing damage control? Conan wrote. Conan says he wanted to ensure that things were being taken care of properly and Trump would be protected. Conan said that he was still in London on October 8th when he had several calls with Hope Hicks, including one call that Trump joined. Conan also spoke separately to Trump that day, he said. Conan recalls stepping out of dinner with friends and family in London. uh, to take the call with Trump. There were two calls according to the phone logs. They have been entered into evidence. Prosecutors show call records with calls, one lasting 4 minutes and 90 seconds, one lasting 7 minutes and 46 seconds between Trump and Conan. He wanted me to reach out to all my contacts in the media. We need to put a spin on this. The spin he wanted to put on it was that this was locker room talk, which it was, something that Melania had recommended, or at least he told me that's what Melania thought it was, and used that in order to get control of the story and minimize its impact on him and his campaign, Conan testified. I mean, it was locker room talk, absolutely. Conan and former CNN anchor Chris Como and CNN are now displayed. Conan says he received calls from many contacts in the press after the Access Hollywood tape, which he describes as quite damaging. For background, the tape was recorded in 2005. It was leaked to the Post, which published the video on October 7th, a little more than a month before Election Day. Text with Cuomo on August 8th, 2016. Cuomo, you going to defend him? Conan, I'm in London. Conan, I've been asked by everyone to do shows starting Tuesday. Not sure what I will do. See, Cuomo will be too late. He's dying right now. Asked what he meant by he's dying right now, Cohen says a tremendous negative story in regards to the Trump campaign. Cohen recalls thinking at the time of the release, the Access Hollywood tape, this is going to be a significant impact, especially with women voters. I don't think it was really that significant because women know this inherently. What Trump said was fairly accurate. If you're high status and powerful enough, women will let you do shit. It is what it is. Cohen's now reviewing an email from Howard saying he deleted a story on Radar titled Trump Playboy. Trump Playboy Man. Howard told Cohen that this was the only story posted. Cohen says he told Trump he had gotten the story removed, which he did in part to get credit for doing so. It really likes getting credit. All right, now we're moving on to Stormy Daniels. Conan testified the National Enquirer, Howard was the one to tell Conan that Daniels is looking to sell her story about Trump. Conan spoke with Pecker and Howard about the Radar story, and that's when Conan said he learned that the Daniels was looking to sell her story. Asked what kind of impact Daniels' story would have on Trump's campaign, Michael Cohen said catastrophic. This is horrible for the campaign. Cohen emphasized catastrophic, pausing before finishing the sentence. Conan first learned about the Daniel story in 2011 when he worked with Davidson to get the dirty.com to remove a post blog about the alleged account, the bullshit account. Oh, man. You ever been like stuffy? That's what I feel like right now. I'm feeling like stuffy. It's kind of annoying the shit out of me. After I received the information from Howard, I immediately went to Trump's office, knocked on the door. Boss, I got to speak to you, Cohen says. He said he told Trump what he learned. According to Cohen, he told him that's one of those things we need to do to obviously take care of it. I told him that one of the things that we need to do, obviously, take care of it. He said, absolutely, do it, take care of it. Cohen says Trump told him about meeting Daniels and explained that quarterback Roethlisberger was also there. Cohen says Trump told him women prefer Mr. Trump even over someone like Big Ben. Cohen is being shown text messages he exchanged with Howard. In the text, Conan told Howard that he had former resolution consultant LLC a week prior to the text messages. He said he told him that the LLC because it was what would be used to buy Daniel's life rights. The business opportunity reference to text was the acquisition of life of the life rights of Stormy Daniels, Conan said. Conan is now reading an October 10th, 2016 text Howard sent to both Conan and Davidson. Keith/Michael, connecting you both in regards to that business opportunity. Spoke to client this AM. They confirmed to proceed with the opportunity. Thanks, Dylan. Conan says he kept Trump informed of about the Daniels situation. That's what I always did, which was to keep him abreast of everything. Conan says Trump was mad at him when he was informed about the Daniel story. I thought you had this under control. I thought you took care of this. Trump expressed at the time. Conan says he told him just take care of it. Conan continues recounting from Trump, women are going to hate me. Guys may think it's cool, but this is a disaster for the campaign. He says to me, this is a disaster, total disaster, Conan testified. Conan adds, he told me to work with David and get control of this, referring to Becker. Trump wanted the Daniel situation under wraps until after the election, according to Conan. Trump said at the time, according to Conan, I want you to just push it out as long as you can just to get past the election, because if I win, it will have no relevance because I'm president, and if I lose, I don't even care. Conan adds he wasn't even thinking about Melania. This was all about the campaign. That's according to Conan. While discussing the deal, Conan said he raised Melania to Trump. Don't worry, he goes, how long do you think I'll be on the market for? Not long. He wasn't thinking about Melania. This was all about the campaign. Apparently, Trump disagrees as he smirked and shook his head. Again, there's no proof of that at all. Just what Conan says. Conan is now being shown an email from Davidson, which includes an attachment of the initial settlement agreement between Daniels. Because look, sorry, to go back about this whole, Trump didn't care about Melania. It's really a he said, because, Trump's probably going to get on stands like, no, I was concerned about my wife. This was an embarrassing story for her. I didn't really think about the campaign. It didn't, initially I was concerned about my wife, and then we talked about the campaign afterwards. But my initial worry was about my wife. Seeing this story, I guaranteed that's what Trump's more than likely going to testify about. Let's see. Conan is being shown an email about from Davidson, which includes an attachment of the initial settlement agreement between Daniels and Trump in October 10th of 16. Emails was sent from Davidson to October 11th, 2016. The settlement was dated October 10th. Conan testified that by October 11th, he and Davidson had already agreed on terms of agreement, including the $130K sum and the liquidated damage clause of $1 million per violation. Conan says a $1 million damage clause was his idea. Conan testified it was his idea to add a punitive damage clause penalizing Daniels if she violated the agreement to ensure that she didn't speak. So it was his idea that was even a thing. Because, okay, interesting. He likes getting this credit. It was my idea. I thought of this. Give me credit, Trump Daddy. Let's see. Conan said he was the only person who retained the side letter agreement to ensure the information would never get out. Conan said he had asked for a 10-day delay to get the funds together for Daniels' agreement, and he planned to delay again, which is what I was instructed to do, push it past the election. What did Trump say? Hold on. I guess that's kind of what he claims Trump says anyways. There's break for lunch. See you at 2 p.m. Prosecution is back. Trump is back. Judge is back on bench. Court's back Conan's back on stand. They resume direct examination. Jury has entered. The jury has shown an email to Conan and Davidson, an attorney who represents Daniels. In this specific case, I used the holiday Yom Kippur it's a Jewish holiday, as a way to just once again trying to delay until after the election, explaining he says Trump told him that it wouldn't matter if the story came out after the election. I want you to just push it out as long as you just get as long as you can, just get past the election, because if I win, it will have no relevance because I'm president, and if I lose, I don't even care. Again, that's according to what Conan says Trump said. There's no proof that he actually came to Trump with this conversation. It's just his word. And I'm sure Trump's going to come back and says, no, he never talked to me about this. I had no idea about the Daniels story till later on. Well, not the story, but the Daniels agreement till later on. Like, so what's going to say? Trump, Cohen's going to say that Trump, it was informed all the way. And Trump's going to say that I had no idea what was going on. He never talked to me about it. According to prosecutors, on October 27th of 2016, Conan paid Daniels $130K to her attorney through a shell company in exchange for her silence about an alleged affair. Oh, here's what we know. Never mind. That's not important. Hoffinger is now showing jury emails between Conan and his banker Faro. The emails from October 13th of 2016 are opening a bank account for a Resolution Consultants LLC. Jury is shown paperwork when Conan opened the bank for Resolutions Consultants LLC. Conan filled out the form saying it was a management consulting company. I'm not sure if they would open it off if it stated to pay off an adult film star for a non-disclosure agreement, she says. Conan says he lied on the document to open the account. He's lied several times, apparently. Conan testified about creating a company called Resolution Consultants, saying it dawned on me that it's actually the name of a company of someone I know from outside the States. I didn't think he would appreciate if I used the same name as the company. Conan adds. Conan says this is why he created a second LLC, this one called Essential Consultants. Okay. Let's see. Conan's going over emails where Davidson says this. Jerry is seeing emails between Conan and Davidson in which Davidson tells Conan that due to his failure to wire the funds, the deal was off. On October 17th of 16, my intent was going to continue to delay as per Trump's demand. I clearly did not send funds to Davidson's lawyer's account on this day. We are losing control over the settlement of this agreement in order to prevent the story from coming out. Conan says, I asked if he was concerned. Conan says, very. Conan looked in the jury's direction after he answers they were very worried if Davidson was no longer going to represent Daniels. On October 7th, Howard texted Conan, I'm told they're going to with Daily Mail. Are you aware? Conan responded, call me. Well, Conan texted later looking for an update. Not taking my calls. Howard responded, you're kidding. Conan wrote, who are you trying to reach? The agent, Howard wrote. And Conan testified that was a reference to Daniel's lawyer, Davidson. Conan recalls this was obviously incredibly stressful and incredibly important. Conan called Trump on 5 p.m. on October 17th. The call log shows it lasted 8 seconds. Conan says he left a voicemail. I called Trump in order to advise him of the situation because I didn't forward the funds. Daniels is now declaring the agreement void. That we were not going to be in a position to delay post the election, which is what he wanted me to do, and that the story was going to go to the Daily Mail. Conan testified. Conan says he set up the Essential Consultant LLC that day to make sure he had a vehicle to transfer funds to Davidson to lock down the story. On October 18th of 16, Melania Trump texted Conan, good morning, Michael. Could you please call DT on his cell? Thanks. Conan responded less than a minute later. Of course, the text was sent at 8:45 a.m. Conan said he was working at the time and believed he spoke to Trump on his office landline phone. Conan is recalling he appeared on CNN with Wolf Blitzer On October 18th of 2016, he says he went on as a surrogate for the Trump campaign. I advocated for Mr. Trump in the best light, Cohen said of his appearance on the show. Cohen says he was asked on the show about Trump's behavior with women. He says he offered denials as well as explanations, and that he had never seen him act in this manner before. Cohen says he believed he went on CNN with talking points that night, noting, I received regular talking points from the campaign. Cohen is recounting his conversation with Trump about the Daniel story, and the payment is at the center of the case. He stated to me he had spoken to several friends, some individuals and smart people, and that it's $130K. You're a billionaire. Just pay it. Cohen testified. Okay. There's no reason to keep this thing out there, so do it. He expressed to me, just do it. Meet up with Weisberg and figure this whole thing out, Cohen said. Again, that's what Cohen is claiming. Got no real evidence for that. Cohen says he spoke with Weisselberg at the time and told the Trump organization CFO he set up an LLC and just needed to be funded. And that just needed to be funded. Weisselberg asked if AMI could pay Daniels. Cohen says he told him that wasn't going to happen. Remember, he wasn't going to, Cohen says that Weisselberg also suggested whether it was possible to use golf course membership or an event like a wedding or bar mitzvah to give someone a credit to make the payment. But Cohen says that wasn't possible because Trump's name would be on all of his clubs. The purpose was to ensure Trump in no way was disclosed in this non-disclosure agreement. Eventually, Weisselberg suggests that Cohen front the money to Daniels. Cohen says Weisselberg said he wasn't financially in a position to do it, citing prep school and camp bills for his 4 grandchildren. Cohen says he and Weisselberg informed Trump that Cohen would front the money, and Trump was appreciative. He stated, "Don't worry, you'll get the money back." Again, there's no real evidence of that. Okay, you got like, oh, again, you got a he said, and the the prosecution doesn't have Weisselberg around to be able to. I mean, they haven't called Weisselberg. They haven't tried to compel him to testify, or anything like that. So it's a he said. Cohen says this. Trump's probably going to say he never came to me about it. I was doing everything I could to protect my boss, which is something I had done for a long time, Cohen said. Cohen testified that he would not have paid the non-disclosure agreement on his own. I would not lay out $130K for an NDA needed by someone else, Cohen says. But he did. Collects show Weisselberg left a voicemail with Cohen on October 23rd. Cohen testified that he recalls the message was following up on the Daniels non-disclosure agreement was going to get funded. How the Daniels non-disclosure agreement was going to get funded. Again, that's what he claims. He also called Weisselberg on 723 ET on October 25th. Cohen testified that it was unusual to talk to Weisselberg after hours. Again, another thing that's kind of interesting is that the prosecution hasn't even attempted to compel Weisselberg to testify. They say, "Oh, we think he won't do it because of XYZ," but they haven't even tried. Like, you could think that, but you could at least try. So it's kind of telling, in my opinion, that they haven't even tried to get Weisselberg to come testify. Cohen testified it was unusual to talk to Weisselberg after hours. It had to do with the Stormy Daniels matter that he claimed. That's what he's claiming. He says there was significant urgency. Cohen said, citing call logs, I needed to speak to Mr. Trump, and I knew that Schuyler was with him the evening of October 24. He called to discuss the Daniels matter and the resolution of it, Cohen said. Cohen is looking at the jury directly as he explains why he chose a home equity line of credit, HELOC, to fund the Daniels payment. It was paperless. I like to do this HELOC, and once I received the money back from Trump, I would just deposit it and no one would be the wiser. He didn't draw money from his personal bank account because his wife was CEO of the household, and she would notice $130K withdrawal, Cohen says. She would have asked me. I clearly could not tell her. That would have been a problem to me. Cohen spoke with Pecker and Howard on October 25th, 2016. Cohen says he asked Pecker if he would make the payment. I figured, why not ask? Cohen says. Pecker said, not a chance. According to Cohen, I had to get this done. Cohen says This would be catastrophic to the campaign. Hoffinger is showing juries a flurry of calls between Conan and Pecker on Signal. Yes, Conan says on with a laugh as why there were so many calls. Signal is terrible with keeping phone calls. They drop all the time. The jury is seeing a bunch of calls between Conan and Davidson on October 25th, 16, in order to ensure that he knew that the matter was being taken care of, and soon there was going to be a transfer of funds in order to have them execute the non-disclosure agreement and side letter, Conan says. There were at least 10 calls on the log between 6:22 p.m. and 7:11 p.m., several of them less than 10 seconds long. Conan says he checked in with Davidson to ensure the deal was in order, so I could express to Trump as an update that the matter is under control. Jurors are shown a call record between Weiselberg and Conan on the evening of October 25th of 16. Let's see. Conan had 2 calls with Trump around 8:30 a.m. on October 26th before Conan went across the street to the bank and make the payment to Davidson. I wanted to ensure once again he approved that what I was doing because I required approval for him on all of this, he says. Following up and asked whether Conan would have gone forward to the bank without Trump's approval. No, Conan said. Everything required Trump's sign off. On top of that, I wanted the money back, he says. Okay. Again, there's no real evidence of this. It's just what Conan says. Again, this is giving me a he said it thing, unless there's some evidence. Again, it would be hilarious if Trump came back, if Trump's attorney came back, it was like, well, we have recordings. Boom. We discovered these recordings. Boom. It'd be hilarious. Not going to happen, but that'd be really fucking funny. Cohen testified that on the 2 October 26, 2016 calls with Trump, he was laying out exactly what was going to happen in order to ensure that the Daniels story didn't get sold to Daily Mail or somebody else. Conan says he told Trump he was going across the story to open the account for LLC that would wire the money to Daniels. On why Trump was not included on the bank documentation, Conan says, again, it was to protect him and isolate him from the transaction. Conan says the documentation he gave to the bank about Essentials Consultant LLC was false. He says it was false in order to hide the intent of the reason for opening Essentials Consultants, which is to pay for an NDA. Asked if he thought the bank would open the account if he was truthful, Conan says, I believe that they probably would not. And again, kind of showing that he has a history of lying. Conan is shown an email from his bank saying the funds have been transferred from a HELOC. He says he sent an email to Daniel's attorney, Davidson, in order to demonstrate to him that the deal is going to be consummated and we are moving forward with it. Make sure everything stayed locked down and that Daniels is under control. Jury is now being shown the wire transfer from Conan's essential consultant accountant to Davidson's account. This documents state the purpose of the wire is retainer. Conan says that is not truthful. Conan says the real reason for the transfer was to pay Daniels to execute the NDA and to sing the story, her life rights. Conan testified he immediately let Trump know he had this signed agreement for Daniels. He also explained why he did so. One, so that he would know the matter, the task he gave me was finished, accomplished, done. Conan says that it was also to credit myself, so he knew it was done and I finished it. This was important, Conan adds. The side agreement between jury is shown the side agreement between Dennison and Peterson, pseudonyms for Daniels and Trump. Trump's name was nowhere near on the agreement. He did not sign it, according to Conan, because the purpose of it was to ensure his name did not appear anywhere because he's the candidate of the president of the United States, and that would not have been in his benefit to do so. He said he initialed EC in the signature spaces for essential consultants. Conan says he thought that down the road he would transfer the essential consultant LLC to Trump, so he would then own the life rights. Hoffinger is now moving on to the November 4th, 2016 article from the Wall Street Journal about McDougal and AMI 4 days before the election. Cohen called Trump on October 28th. They spoke for 5 minutes. It was the same day Cohen signed a non-disclosure agreement and side letter. He said he told Trump this matter is now completely under control and locked down. A jury is now seeing call logs indicating there were many calls between Cohen and Hope Hicks on November 4th between 4:51 and 9:15 p.m. Cohen said they were getting our heads around this article, figuring out how to change the narrative and how to quash any negative results that would come from it because it was days before the election. Cohen says he understood ahead of time that the Wall Street Journal was going to be about McDougal, but it would also mention Daniels. When asked by prosecutor Hoffinger, Cohen confirmed he reached out to Hope Hicks and David Pecker to coordinate the situation. He spoke to them so that we could all coalesce around this issue in an attempt to again quell the potential effects of an article like this. Hicks sent Cohen an email at 5:29 p.m. with the several potential statements to respond to the Wall Street Journal story. Cohen says the email was a series of ideas and thoughts to use to the media to get control over the release of the article. Cohen said he spoke with Daniels' attorney Davidson 7 times that day. Cohen said he wanted to ensure Daniels did not go rogue. Hoffinger also asked if he spoke to Davidson about McDougal. Yes, Cohen says, as if it stirred his memory. Were you angry at him? Hoffinger asked. Very, Cohen says. She was his client. I respected he had everything. He would have this under control. Cohen says of Davidson, adding, I wanted to ensure Mr. Trump was safe. Cohen says he believed Davidson's side about the leaked story of McDougal. Davidson issued a statement denying the story, and that was the way he was going to appease me. More importantly, to appease Trump, Cohen says. Cohen had several calls with Howard. He says he was expressing to me in a very angry manner that McDougal was now part of his team, and you need to get a hold of this and also issue denials. Trump's bodyguard, Schuyler, sent Cohen a text at 7:26 p.m. asking if he could take a call in 30 minutes. Just after 9 p.m., Cohen left a voicemail and connected with a 5-minute and 55-second long call at 9:06 p.m. Cohen says he spoke to Trump on Schuyler's phone. Cohen says he relayed the current situation to Trump and assured him we would do everything in our power to protect Trump. Hoffinger asked if Trump was angry and upset. Yes, Cohen says, because there was a negative story that once again impacted the campaign as a result of women. Let's see. Court's taking a short break. Hoffinger says that direct examination is tomorrow. So direct examination is still going on. Probably will go on another day, and I think cross will happen probably Wednesday. That's my guess. So back again. So we're back in session. I resume questioning. Prosecutor's questions resumed with text messages between Cohen and Hope Hicks on November 5th of 2016, day after Wall Street Journal story came out. Text message said, Cohen, so far I only see six stories, getting little to no traffic. Hicks, same. Hicks, keep praying, it's working. Cohen testified they were concerned the story would explode into massive issues. We were monitoring to see the type of traction the story was getting from other news sources. Cohen texted Hicks about the reaction to Wall Street Journal. Even CNN's not talking about it. No one believes it. And if necessary, I have a statement by Daniels denying everything and contradicting the porn star's statements. I wouldn't use it now or even discuss it with him as no one's talking about this or cares. Cohen asked if he would continue to work for the Trump Organization after the 2016 presidential election. No, because my services was no longer necessary. I was special counsel to Mr. Trump, and he was now president-elect. Cohen testified. Cohen testified he was disappointed he wasn't considered for chief of staff at the White House after Trump was elected president, although Cohen acknowledged he was not competent for the job. I just wanted my name to be included. Cohen said I wanted to be at least considered. It was more about my ego than anything. Cohen says he wanted to be the personal attorney to the president, but really wanted to be the consultant so he could stay in New York to be a consultant. Every president has a personal attorney, so my thoughts was that I could continue to protect him to do the things he needed with these other matters. He would be protected, he says. Conan said being personal attorney as a president opened up tremendous amount of doors for people who are trying to understand the mind of Trump. Conan is so he's looking at the jury when he's talking about this. Mr. Trump was an enigma. He was a businessman. No one knew what his position was, he says. Conan says he thought he could monetize the position and knowledge of Trump because of my close proximity to him for a decade. I did understand him, Cohen says. Cohen says he brought an attorney who helped pitch the idea to Trump. He presented Trump with a 3-page memo explaining why Trump needed a personal attorney and why it should be Conan. They met for about an hour. Conan testified. Conan is now being shown text messages he exchanged with his daughter after the 2016 election. He says he explained to her his role would not be in government, but it would be a hybrid with access to Trump while being able to monetize relationship with various companies. Conan said he didn't expect to be compensated by Trump for being his personal attorney as president because he understood he'd make money from the companies that would pay him for insight on Trump. On a day or two after Trump left for inauguration in January 2017, Conan said Trump officially made him his personal counsel. Conan testified he was angry beyond angry because Trump had slashed his bonus by 2/3. Conan says after fronting $130K on his behalf to protect him, it was insulting that the gratitude that was shown back to me was to cut the bonus by 2/3. Trump provided bonuses in an annual Christmas card to his staff. Right after opening it, I actually had to take a double take, Conan says. He immediately went to Weiselberg's office and in some colorful language expressed how he truly pissed off and angry he was. This makes no sense. Trump laughed to himself and nods as Conan testified how angry he was about the bonus cut. Conan's tone is still very even and measured. He says with a smirk, I was even for myself unusually angry. Conan says he's also spoke with Pecker about his unhappiness with the bonus. Can you believe after all this and laying out $130K to protect him, this is the best I get? Conan recalls telling Pecker. I couldn't believe it. It wasn't even so much the number as much as it was about the disrespect that came with it. I was just personally insulted, Conan says. Conan said Trump called him right after New Year's while he was on vacation with his family. On the call, Trump told him that next year he should come to Mar-a-Lago and said, don't worry about the other thing. I'm going to take care of it when I get back. Conan said, referencing his bonus. After the new year, Conan said he went to Weiselberg about getting repaid for the $130K payment to Daniels. He said, let's do it, Conan said. Weiselberg asked for a copy of the statements reflecting the $130K transfer, Conan said. Jury has shown the first Republican wire transfer document that with Weiselberg's handwriting. Conan confirmed that he provided the first Republican statement. The jury sees the copy that Heisenberg took handwritten notes on calculating what Trump owed based on their conversation. Conan said he was in the room with Weiselberg when Weiselberg wrote the document. Conan was asked about Trump, about Weiselberg understanding about taxes. Conan says Weiselberg is not CPA, but he had been Trump's chief financial officer for decades. He certainly knows more than I do, Conan says. Conan said, when asked about the accounting being used, I didn't really think about it. I just wanted to get my money back. After the meeting, Conan said he and Weiselberg went to Trump's office to speak about it, to him about it. Conan says he thought he'd get the $420K back in one lump sum, but during the conversation with Trump's office, Weiselberg turned around and said to me while we were talking about this, we're going to pay you over 12 months, he says. It would be recorded as like legal service rendered since I was going to be given the title of personal attorney to the president, Conan says. Conan is testifying that a payment series set up for future legal services was actually a reimbursement of the payment he used in the Stormy Daniels deal. Hoffinger asked if Weisberg told Conan that Conan was going to receive 420K over the course of 12 months. Yes, Conan says. Conan said his impression was that Trump and Weisselberg had already discussed this. Hoffinger asked if Trump was there when Weisselberg said those monthly payments to Conan were going to be like a legal retainer, or like a retainer for legal services. Trump gave Conan the title personal attorney to the president around the same time, Conan says. Hoffinger then asked what are these payments for future legal services. This was a payment for future legal services. This was what it was designed to be, Conan said. What was it actually? Hoffinger asked. Reimbursement for my money, Conan said. Again, that's what Conan's saying. Okay, on January 17th of 17, Conan texted the operator of his Yellow Cab medallion business. Thank you. I leave tomorrow for DC, and just between us, I will be personal counsel to President Trump. Conan says he doesn't remember exactly when Trump told him he'd be his personal counsel, but Trump pinned it around this text and his appearance on Shannon Hannity announcing his position on January 18th. He got a text on January 18th from a contact about the announcement. Congratulations on being Trump's personal counsel, conciliary. Conan says Weisselberg told him the repayments would begin in February. What he stated to me each month, just send us an invoice and just mark down for legal services rendered pursuant to the agreement, and we'll just get you a check, Conan says, Weisselberg told him. According to Conan, Weisselberg explained that with Trump moving to Washington, D.C., it's going to be take a little bit of time to get things moving, and encouraged him to just be patient. Conan said he wanted to be Trump's personal attorney for the title and didn't expect to be paid. He gave me this title. I was proud to accept this title, which I wanted, so I knew there would be no compensation for any work, Conan says. Really? I highly doubt that. He gave me this title. I was proud to accept that title. Conan said he would be paid by companies he signed consulting agreements with. He said he never put together a retainer agreement for any future work for Trump. No, ma'am, he says in response to Hoffinger, because I knew there was going to be no compensation. Conan says this was not related to the 420K payment he was receiving from the Trump organization. Okay, and that is the end of court today. See if there's anything of interest that comes up. That's it. All right. Finally, we're done. Sweet baby Jesus. We're done. All right. So that's the end of it. Again, Conan's going to have to try and provide some sort of evidence that this was in fact a repayment for repaying him to get his money, because they effectively, it was 130K, but then they added a bunch of 420K. So he's going to have to provide some sort of proof that yes, this was for repayment for his work on Trump's what's it call it he's going to have to provide some sort of proof that yes, this was due to him being repaid or fronting the 130K to Trump for his for paying Stormy Daniels off. He hasn't really done that so far. He just all he's done is say that's what it's for. There's no real evidence to say that's what it's for. So far, the Trump's attorneys still have the argument. It's like, no, this was for him putting his retainer, being put on retainer as the president's personal attorney. And just because he claims I wasn't expecting any money or any compensation doesn't mean that he wasn't going to be compensated. And if you're not expecting to be compensated, you're kind of a fucking idiot, honestly. Like, why are you going to do that work or be like the personal attorney and not want any payment, even if you expect companies to want to pay you a consultant fee or anything? How do you know for a fact that's what's going to end up happening? Because they may just be like, no, we're not really that interested, honestly. Or we already got our own sources, so we don't really need you. You don't know for a fact that's going to actually end up being happening, that you're going to get some sort of compensation from anyone. So the idea of, no, I'm just going to, not really going to worry about it. I'm going to, I'm sure I'm going to get paid uh, later on just doesn't make any sense to me. And again, without any actual proof, uh, Trump can just say he's like, no, and like Trump and his attorneys can argue it's like, no, this was because he was going to become personal attorney to the president. This had nothing to do with reimbursement or anything like that. We had no knowledge of this. He kind of just threw it on us, and we were like, all right, well, we didn't agree to this, so we're not going to pay you for it, or anything like that. Which they very well could do. They very well could do that. Um. So yeah. All right. Whatever. All right. Oh. So that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you like and subscribe and give me a follow. Make sure you check out my previous video of me going over the uh, what happened yesterday or Sunday with Andrew Wilson owning Daisy, aka Ling Ling. And yeah, I hope you have a good day. Make sure you like and subscribe, give me a follow, and peace out. And I will see you later. I think I will try and do a stream later today. But I don't know if I'll end up doing it. So just be on the lookout for that. If not, I do hopefully plan to play some video games and stream my gaming. So be on the lookout for that. Peace out, and I'll see you later. Peace.